Hello, pessoal! E aí, tudo bem? Bom, hoje eu vou trazer aqui para vocês uma entrevista super especial com uma ex-cliente minha chamada Margaret, e ela vai nos ensinar, ela topou contar algumas dicas, né, sobre a cultura americana e como eles, né, pensam sobre o serviço de house cleaning. Então ela vai dar algumas dicas, vai falar o que aconteceu com ela, como a gente pode melhorar, né, o que geralmente a gente faz que não deveria, ou o que a gente não faz e deveria também. Então é isso, pessoal, eu espero que vocês gostem, aproveitem cada parte dessa entrevista que vai servir para a gente se tornar um excelente prestador de serviço de limpeza nos Estados Unidos. Então é isso, acompanhem aí.
Here with an old customer of mine called Margaret. She became a friend and now she's gonna give us a lot of good tips to be an excellent cleaning service, right, Meg?
Right.
Okay, so let's start. Just a little bit about you. You live in Seattle, right?
I do. I live in Seattle, Washington, in the United States.
And how long have you been having cleaning services?
21 years.
Okay, 21 years having cleaning service. You have a lot of experience with that, right?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask you a couple questions and then you feel free to give all your experience to us, okay?
Okay.
Okay,
Sounds
so
good.
let's start. What are the best qualities that a cleaner or cleaning business may have?
Well, the first thing is basically common sense. Yes, you've come to clean somebody's house, but if you see that there's a big splat on a wall, but the owner doesn't say, could you clean that? You know, take the initiative because you know that it's not supposed to be there. Take the initiative and clean that up. I have had house cleaners that I had one that if there was a button off of the duvet cover, she would sew it on. And I've had another tell me, that's not my responsibility. That's not my duty. And I'm like, okay. But she was also one that because the button was off of the duvet cover, she wouldn't use that duvet cover. She would only use the duvet cover that had all the buttons on it.
And she wouldn't tell you that the button was off or anything?
No.
Okay.
And so I had people who would say, gee, they didn't change my sheets this week. And I'm like, yes, they did. But it's because one of the buttons was missing. And so your sheets were washed and all this kind of stuff, and then just put back on your bed. So it looks like the sheets weren't changed, but they were. They were changed and cleaned and then re-put on the bed. Anyway,
Okay.
so everybody's a little different. I mean, I want somebody who assesses a situation and can say, okay, well, we need to do this, this, and this. And that's what I like.
Okay, so you mean the cleaner needs to be a little more proactive about the problem, and
exactly.
He or he doesn't have to ask you about everything, and she can do something better or something else without asking you, right?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, because there are things that happen between your visits, like the cleaner visits, so that you are not aware. So it's important that a cleaner is always paying attention on these details, right?
Right. If I have special blinds in the windows, and sometimes the strings that you use to pull up and down get broken. Well, if they've been going into a room for 6 months and they know that the blind is broken, Why don't they tell me? Then I can have it fixed instead of finding out when the person vacates the room that the blind is broken, but they've lived with it for 6 months because they haven't wanted to tell me. But it's just common sense. It's not anything that they do wrong or anything like that. It's just that I would like more proactiveness, I guess.
Mag, I remember one of your students. I remember that she told you that I didn't clean the remote control.
Yes. That was stupid.
She said, I didn't clean the remote control. So there are things that, okay, we can make mistakes.
Yeah, no,
but
that is, that's just a story. That's not even she was a difficult individual. And for her to say, oh, well, they didn't clean my remote control, I wouldn't even have cleaned her remote control. You know, that wasn't something
dirty, by the way.
What?
It was not even dirty, by the way.
No, I know. I know. She was just finding fault.
Yeah, right. Because Maggie, she rents her rooms for medical school in Seattle, right? Most of them
I do medical school and visiting physicians and engineering students and x-ray techs and nurses and anesthesia technicians, right? So I have a wide variety of people that come from all over the world.
You have a lot of experience with different cultures, right?
Right, and especially Brazilians. I have a steady stream of Brazilians that come through here.
As we know, you usually receive like Brazilian doctors, and they have a different perspective about cleaners too, right?
Yes, they do. They think that the cleaner's going to make their dinner and their clothes and wash their clothes, and I have to tell them, no. They're here to clean the house, they'll clean your bathroom, but they're not here to iron your clothes, wash your clothes, or make your meals for you. That's up to you. That's not part of house cleaning as what we think in the United States.
Okay. One thing that I think is really funny that you told me about the Brazilian culture, that we take a lot of showers and we usually don't take care of the hair in the bathroom.
Right.
So you guys pay attention on that because it's really important. We take a lot of showers, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We only take one, that's great.
Well,
take off the hair.
Yeah, the Spanish people have a problem. The Spanish and the Brazilian people, they all they're and the Asian people too, because their hair comes out when they're washing their hair, and they don't ordinarily pick it up. So I have to put strainers in the bathtub and in the shower so that the drains don't get clogged up, and it costs $122 to have the plumber come to get the hair out.
You see, we have problems too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that was just a curious question. Okay, we talked about the best qualities, and now I want to know the worst mistake that a cleaner can make.
Oh, I don't do that.
You should. Just, I don't know, maybe if you arrive late at some appointment, like the cleaner is always late, or she's canceling all the time. That's a bad mistake.
Yes. But what I'm saying is, when I ask the cleaner to do something specific, and she says, "Oh, I don't do that," that's not in my job description. So maybe it's, yes, they've collected all the garbage from in the house, but they won't put it into the garbage can because they say it's too heavy to carry. Being on time is very important to me because I value my time and where I go, and I make my appointments based on what the cleaners tell me they're going to be there that day. And if they're supposed to come at 8 and I make a medical appointment for 11, and then by 9 the cleaners haven't shown up, and then they call and say, "Oh, we're going to be late, we'll be there about 10:30. Well, that's not going to work for me.
Even when the cleaner she wants to get too early too, is not good, right, for Americans, because you organize yourself, your house, to receive the cleaner at that time.
Yeah, usually most people that stay here are usually gone by 8 o'clock in the morning. Every once in a while you'll find someone that's home because they've had a cancellation of a class or something like that. But we can still, if somebody wants to come at 8 o'clock in the morning, that's fine with me. I just tell everybody, and they have to make do. They have to move to another part of the house or whatever. And I make sure that people get things cleaned up off the floor because the cleaners have to vacuum. And so that's so the scheduling is very important because we all have things that we need to do, and we base that on what day they come and what time they come.
Okay, that's a good answer. Okay, so the other question is the English language essential for this business, the cleaning business in the U.S., or you think maybe you can work with that or having a business without the language?
Well, as you know, now I might be an unusual person, I don't know. But if you know some of the basics of the English language, we can get it across. The other thing that I have done is I write everything out or type everything out in English, translate it into Portuguese.
You are different.
And give it to the person. I have a gardener that comes, and if I talk to him and tell him something, he doesn't always get it. But if I type it out in English, he understands.
Yeah.
So,
but in general, not like in your case, but in general, Americans, they can try to understand well, but you have at least to talk a little bit of the basics, right?
right.
To make conversation understandable.
Well, you just have to be patient and listen. And sometimes maybe they won't have the right word, but then they will have the right thing.
Yeah.
And you say, "Oh, okay, yeah."
Yeah, right. Because at least if you work with cleaning services, you have to at least learn the basic vocabulary for that, right?
Right.
And expressions. Then you are not always depend on objects to say something.
Right.
Right?
Correct, I should say. Correct.
Okay. But you are different. you talk really slowly, that's a good thing. But Americans usually they have patience, but if you find someone that is not that patient, you cannot lose this job, this customer just because of your lack of English language.
Right.
Right.
And the other thing, once they've been there a few times and you see that the work that they can do, you know, tell the people you're doing a really good job. And it makes
Mm-hmm.
them want to do more because they're complimented. And even if language is a barrier in the beginning, after a while, they'll begin to understand.
Yeah, right,
So,
right. And usually they try to speak some Spanish. It's not good, but they try to speak some Spanish, and you get to know each other the way they talk. And
right.
one thing that Brazilians think is the worst situation in the cleaning business is when the American calls. Yeah, when the American calls, they freak out because they will not have the vocabulary necessary to talk, to have a real conversations
Yeah.
about numbers, about activities. So they really freak out. So what's your advice for that? To
Well,
hang out?
in the beginning, the person should say um, that be honest and just say my English isn't that good, but I'm willing to work on it if you're willing to take a chance on me. And so it's a two-way street. It's good for you and it's good for them. And usually after you have worked together for a while, you understand. So I don't know. I think maybe what they should do is have a script.
Yeah, right.
And,
That,
when they call, have a script so that they know what they want to talk about and tell the customer, as opposed to being off the cuff. Oh, hey, yeah, sure. You don't want to do that. So if you have a script, then it's better because you have something to go by when you're talking to the man or the woman.
the cleaning questions are almost the same, right? What's
Mm-hmm.
your, can you come for an estimate? Or are you available this week?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Things like
Right.
that. So if you learn these expressions, these vocabulary, the things get really better.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
I think so too.
you gave a really great advice. That's the thing that I always tell people when they ask me how they do it without the English language. I tell exactly what you said. You have to start and then you keep learning and you keep learning the vocabulary, the expressions, and then after a while it will make a lot of sense and it will flow really better after a
Hmm.
couple months and then you are not afraid anymore.
Right. Exactly.
Okay, great.
Well, and
So,
you as the employer, you want to give your cleaner confidence in herself so that she will not only do a better job for you, but she will get more clients because I will say to Emma, oh, Emma, I have this great cleaner. You should really hire her.
mhm.
So those are the things um, it's like that. You word of mouth.
Okay, so that's one thing. Referrals are really important for Americans.
Oh, you mean references?
Yeah, like references. Like
Uh,
when
ref-
you tell your friends that that cleaner is very good.
well, for me, references aren't that important. in a way, because I've had, let's see, it was in 2014, and I went away on an extended trip for 6 weeks. And when I came back, one of my rings was missing. And I had a cleaning crew here. There were 3 of them. And I felt that the one woman was a little shady. The head of the crew, she was very nice, very competent, and I don't think that she did anything. I don't think that she knew this. But so I got stolen from, and yet these people were referred really good references. And yet they stole a ring from me. They checked my medicines every week.
You told me that you had a cleaner who would steal your medicines. They are controlled, right?
She would, when she was here cleaning, she would go into the bathroom and lock the door. And while she would be in there, she would go through my medicines. So I had to move the medicines. Every Thursday night before they came on Friday, I moved the medicines into another room where she would not think of to look.
That's weird to hear, because I was in a house once, and then his mom was at the house, and she was kind of walking and trying to look at me, and in the end she told me that she had a cleaner who would steal her medicines too. So yeah, she was afraid that I could do that. And that's one thing. Maybe Americans are not worried exactly about money, about gold or anything, but something else like medicine, or I don't know, maybe memory, something like that, right?
Well, my ring that was stolen wasn't visible. And it was way in back of the drawer. So there had to be somebody that was looking for it.
Okay. Maybe she thought you didn't know where it was.
Well, for the next 2 weeks, I said to them, "Gee, I think I've lost one of my rings, and I think that I remember dropping it. When you're cleaning today, would you look for it?" Never found it in 2 weeks.
Yeah. And Americans usually they do trust cleaners, or it depends on the person.
We do. I mean, I know I do, and maybe I shouldn't. But I do trust them. It was no question. You came from Amazon.
Yeah, right.
Came through Amazon. And then sometimes they come through. I've had one come from Care who ripped me off. She was supposed to go do all these errands for me, and I gave her money to pick up medicine and all this kind of stuff, and poof, she was gone.
No way.
Yeah.
You didn't tell me that.
She was, I think she was right before you. She was a young woman. She had, she came with a story about being a single parent and having this little boy who was 5, and how that he needed this, and then when you would ask her to do something, "Oh, my back really hurts. I don't think I can do that." What?
Was she American?
Yes, she was an American.
Yeah.
That taught me a big lesson. I don't have Americans anymore.
Why? Tell us.
Because sometimes
right?
Sometimes the Americans are lazy.
You thought a lot and said lazy. You were
Like I wanted to be politically correct
okay.
in what I
Yeah.
said.
The
So
Americans usually they follow instructions really strict, right?
yes, they do, but sometimes they need guidance. Now, again, I went away on an extended trip for 6 weeks, and when I came home, and I had an American cleaner, and I'd had her for a year. She was the one who wouldn't use the duvet if it had a button missing.
Okay.
She when I came home, she had this list of she had worked 15 minutes extra here and 15 minutes extra here. Now, when I was here, she would come and chat with me for the first 15 minutes, and she got everything done. Okay, so then you find out, well, the garbage can was so heavy, it took me 15 minutes to carry it out. Well, you should have left it and asked Mary or Ivandro to take it out. Well, and then this time, Mary's little girl had to talk to me. Oh, that's not my problem. You know, if you want to talk to a 3-year-old, you do it on your own time. You don't do it on mine. This was in the day when I paid $25 an hour.
$25 an hour. Yeah, because that's what a good difference because Brazilians they usually don't charge well because they most of them they are embarrassed about charging. So
Mm-hmm.
they do a lot more about like move out cleanings or deep cleanings. They do deep cleanings every week, for the same
Yeah,
customer. So if you charge, okay, that's great. But if you don't, you can lose a lot of money, right?
right.
Because they
Exactly.
are embarrassed about saying, oh, these, we usually charge more or something like that.
Mm-hmm. When I've had gardening people come, and one guy came and told me that it would be $1,850 to bring my yard back, my gardens, my flower beds. And I go, no,
What
that's
he
way
do?
too much. What?
What he?
He's Mexican. No, he
Oh,
wasn't Mexican. The guy who gave me the bid, he was Asian.
Asian.
But the
Okay.
fellow that I have is Mexican, and he came through the Casa Latina place here in town, and they charge for the person to come to do yard work is $22 an hour, but I pay him 25 because he's very methodical. He listens to what you want, and he'll do anything that I want him to do. And if I ask him to pick up dog poop, he will. So,
So I think that the balance between uh, not to do and what to charge and not to charge, I think the balance between Americans and Brazilians should be the ideal thing, right?
yes, yes.
And what do you think about professionals? Would you hire a professional without a license and insurance, like a business insurance? Would it be a
Uh,
big deal for you?
I would definitely hire them without a license because sometimes they're just starting.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they're doing this um, out of their regular work
Mm-hmm.
regimen. So they're just trying to earn some extra money. And but if they have, you mean insurance in case they suffer an injury?
Yes, right.
Well, my homeowner's insurance should take care of that.
Yeah, most of Americans now they have home insurance, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
Right.
like if you have like on Amazon, you have two options. This one is a 5 star, and but he doesn't have insurance. And this one's 4 stars, and they have insurance. Which one would you pick?
I'd probably go with the 5 star.
5 star. You see?
Yeah.
So
I'd take my
Max
chances.
first, yeah. First a 5 stars, then a 4 stars with insurance. So that's a good
Yeah.
thing to think about.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but because you have insurance, right?
Yes, I have insurance.
Okay. So and this question about the stars, when would you give a 5 star, and when would you give a 1 star for cleaner?
Well, a 1 star would be if I came home and could not see any difference in my house than when I left. That would be a 1 star.
For
I want
sure.
to come home after the cleaners have been here and know that my house has been cleaned. I don't want to say, "Oh, did you get that? Did you get that? Did you get that?" And sometimes I don't see things until I do something specific. So, say I'm putting drops in my eyes, and then I see the cobwebs on the ceiling, which I
Yeah,
wouldn't see.
cobwebs are really important to show that you really pay attention
Yeah.
on everything, right?
Yes.
For cleaner or cleaning business, if you don't pay attention on the cobwebs, you have a lot of trouble.
Yes, you do.
Right. So, what about the 5 stars? When you see everything was done that you had in mind, right?
Yes. If everything is done the way that I like it, if they've listened to me and done all the things that I needed them to do, yeah, then they would get. Well, now then it's also going to depend a little bit on their attitude.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to give me attitude. You want to give me service. And so you want to think about things like that.
First impression.
Yes, first impression. If the first impression is good as far as, meeting the people or the job that they've done, then I'm pretty good because I can walk in the house and know what, I can see the things that have been done just by the way things are moved.
Yeah, and the house is ours, is yours. You know exactly how it looks when it's clean or
Mm-hmm.
when it's dirty. So
Mm-hmm.
if you are clean and you think the customer doesn't know it, it's right. It's crazy
Right.
because they know every corner where that gets dirtier easily or not.
Mm-hmm.
So they will go straight to that space to
Mm-hmm.
see if you have cleaned it or not.
Mm-hmm. And
Yeah.
there are some things that don't need to be cleaned every week. They
Mhm.
can go. So I had a cleaning woman from Guatemala, and she had been a house manager for this family. She had moved with them from Los Angeles to Seattle, and she had worked for them for over 20 years. And she knew how to clean, and just as a single person, she could come and clean your house. But she would tell me how she was going to do it, how that, okay, all these things need to be cleaned every week. All these things don't. So she would split it up, and so that everything would look always good, but it was because that she said these things don't need as much and these things do. So you just had to, yeah.
Communication is the key.
Communication is the key.
Okay, so to finish our conversation, I would like you to give a customer perspective about an advice for someone who wants to start a cleaning business in the U.S. nowadays.
Well, know your know the people in your area. What?
You are great at advices, so that's why I put this question for the end.
Okay, think of the area that you want to clean in. What is your clientele? You know that in certain areas you're not going to make a lot of money because they don't have house cleaners. If you want to make money, then you have to go to certain areas of the city. And so the first thing then, you would put, say, a flyer in their mailbox. And maybe you have to put one or two in their mailbox. And if you get one client in a neighborhood, and then she emails another client, a friend of hers who she recommends this new house cleaner to, that's what you want. You want kind of word of mouth, because sometimes references just don't have a leg to stand on. So communication again, know the clientele that you want to service, then start a campaign as far as here are my here's what we do, what we can do, and we'll come and give you a bid. And like you had cards. Okay, I think those cards are very important, because you can go to you can be somewhere and somebody's talking and you can say, oh, hi, well, this is my card, give me a call if you need any work, or if you need any help with your house or whatever. You can just hand those cards out, and it would be surprising how maybe it wouldn't be right away, but I can guarantee you that soon you would have people who would call you. Because I do that. I've put cards in my purse, and then I just keep them, and I don't know why. But then after a while, I need help with such and such. Oh, I know, I've got a card. And so then I call that person. And
what about these websites like Amazon, Care.com?
Yeah, I would do Amazon. You can do Care. You can start up your own website too, as to when you're first starting out, and you want to have, I know, the thing now, there's a website called Nextdoor.
Yeah.
Okay, and on there you can find a lot of things, free things for your house or your garden. They tell you about restaurants. They tell you about, do you have any recommendations for cleaning people? Do you have recommendations for a roofer? All those kinds of things. So I would try and get on something like that too, so that you can, I thought this was stupid. Yesterday there was a woman who showed us some cookies that she was making, Christmas cookies, and would anybody like to buy them? And so, like, right away 7 people responded, yes, I want a dozen, no, I want 2 dozen, and all this kind of stuff. And then some man came on and he goes, well, this really isn't the place for this. You know, there's another section, and then he asks the woman, and do you have a license to do this, and do you have a permit to do that? And that was ridiculous. I mean, the only time this woman was going to do this was at Christmas right now, when, due to the economy, she needed some extra money.
Right.
So that was stupid.
There are some boring people everywhere.
Yes, exactly. But anyway, so is any of that helpful?
Oh my gosh, that would be really helpful.
Okay.
I want to thank you a lot, because this is gonna help Brazilians to understand the American culture about this service. Because sometimes, because it's hard to tell that Americans want you to arrive on time. Americans want you at least to communicate in English. So it's hard for Brazilians to tell them, but an American saying the same words is much
Right.
better. Yeah, so you were very helpful, and you are gonna help a lot of people.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, good. I'm glad I could help.
So thank you, Meg. I don't want to take longer to take your
Okay.
time, because I know you have an appointment, but I really appreciate your time.
You're
Okay?
very welcome, my dear.
You're
Glad to
welcome.
help you. Okay.
Thank
Love you.
Have a nice day.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you. Bye-bye.